Have you ever heard of a ghost ship sailing aimlessly in the ocean with no crew on board? Let's take a step back in time to the year 1867. Picture this. A merchant brigantine by the name of Mary Celeste is being crafted in Spencer's Island, Nova Scotia. A fine ship built to endure the harshest of weather and the roughest of seas. The early voyages were carrying cargoes of timber and coal across the vast Atlantic. But as the years passed, Mary Celeste's fate took a strange turn. The ship, once bustling with activity, would soon be found drifting in the Atlantic Ocean near the Azores Islands. The crew was nowhere to be found, and the ship was eerily silent. This was no ordinary ship, and its final journey would cement its place in maritime folklore. The date was November 7th, 1872, a day that marked the beginning of a mystery that still baffles us today. On this seemingly ordinary day, the Mary Celeste, a merchant brigantine, set sail from New York Harbor. Its destination was Genoa, Italy, a journey that was expected to be fairly routine. The ship was laden with a hefty cargo of over 1,700 barrels of raw alcohol, a highly valuable commodity in those days. At the helm was Captain Benjamin Briggs, a seasoned mariner known for his cool-headedness and seafaring skills. Briggs was not alone on this voyage. Accompanying him were his wife, Sarah, their young daughter, Sophia, and a hand-picked crew of 7. All were experienced sailors, men who had faced the capricious moods of the sea more times than they could count. The weather was in their favor, and the ship was in a perfectly seaworthy condition. The Mary Celeste had undergone extensive refurbishment just before this voyage, ensuring that it was fit to sail the high seas. The ship's logbook, meticulously maintained by Captain Briggs, recorded favorable weather conditions and regular routines. As they sailed out of the harbor, there was no indication of the enigma that was about to unfold. The sea was calm, the sky clear, and the ship moved smoothly over the Atlantic's gentle swells. The voyage began under the most ordinary of circumstances. On board the Mary Celeste, life carried on as usual. The ship moved steadily forward, cutting through the vast expanse of the ocean. Everything was totally normal, or at least it looked that way. On December 5th, 1872, when the British ship Dei Gratia came across something pretty spooky, the usually busy Atlantic Ocean was strangely quiet. Out there, floating like a ghost in the huge, empty sea, was the Mary Celeste. Captain David Morehouse and his crew on the Dei Gratia cautiously approached the ship. It was super quiet. The sails were kind of a mess, but the ship could still sail. What really gave them the creeps wasn't the ship's condition, but the fact that there was no one on board. The crew was gone. The lifeboat was missing. It was like the Mary Celeste was a ghost ship, just drifting around on the ocean. The only thing trailing behind the ship was a single rope that looked all worn and frayed, like it had been cut in a hurry or snapped under pressure. It was like the Mary Celeste was a sea creature, leaving a severed tentacle behind, showing that something bad had happened. The Dei Gratia crew went below decks, maybe hoping to find a clue about what happened to the Mary Celeste's crew. They found the ship's logbook in the mate's cabin. The last entry was on November 25th, and it didn't say anything about trouble or impending doom. Just a regular voyage until it wasn't. The cargo hold was full, and there was plenty of food on the ship. No signs of a fight, no blood, nothing violent. It was as if the crew had just decided to leave. The crew, the captain, his family, everyone had disappeared, as if the sea had swallowed them up. The Mary Celeste, with its creepy silence and empty decks, became a mystery, a ghost ship sailing without a single person on board. It was a chilling puzzle that would confuse people for centuries to come. A bunch of ideas have been thrown around to figure out what happened. One idea is that pirates might have attacked the ship, but that doesn't really make sense. The ship's stuff was still there, and the crew's things were untouched. Pirates wouldn't leave things like that. Then they thought about natural disasters, like big waves or waterspouts making the crew leave. Maybe, but the ship was totally fine, not wrecked by bad weather. So that idea got tossed out too. Next, they considered the ship having an explosion from alcohol fumes. The Mary Celeste had a ton of industrial alcohol. Maybe the crew left because they were scared of an explosion, but there were no signs of a blast or fire on the ship. Each idea came up and was proven wrong. making the mystery of the Mary Celeste even more confusing. The ship was just drifting with no crew, and the logbook stopped 10 days earlier. The lifeboat was gone, but everything else was normal. It was like the crew had disappeared into thin air. No matter how hard they tried, they couldn't figure out what happened to Mary Celeste's crew. The ship's story became part of sea legends, a spooky reminder of how deep and mysterious the ocean can be. And with that, the tale comes to an end. Subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell to join us on more captivating journeys into history.